More rewards, more savings. With American Express Business Gold, earn up to $395 back in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select shipping, food delivery, and retail subscription merchants, including the $155 Walmart Plus monthly membership credit and $240 flexible business credit. Enjoy the benefits of membership with the Amex Business Gold Card. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. From your morning podcast to your afternoon playlist, State Farm knows you personalize your entire day, and that's why State Farm helps you personalize your insurance with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It offers coverage options that help protect what you care about most at an affordable price just for you. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Ms. Flowers was over that night, and she actually went through his phone while he was sleeping. They were both drinking heavily and getting high, so he says that he was exactly what happened.
No, there's no objecting.
Exactly what.
Like if it's not, you can object on a legal ground, not on a I don't like what she's saying ground.
Oh, okay.
Hold on.
This is the plaintiff, Sherry Moore. She says the defendant, her brother's ex-girlfriend, used her car without permission while she was away, got into an accident, and refuses to pay her for the damages. The defendant's a bit of a lunatic who doesn't have a foot to stand on in this case because she's guilty as sin. She owes her $4,305, and she fully expects to get it today. This is the defendant, Alicia Flowers. She says it was the plaintiff's brother who stole his sister's car, and when he was out in it, he hit a deer, damaging the car. She wasn't even in the car at the time of the accident. She has no idea why she's being sued, when it was the plaintiff's brother who took her car out, and she owes the plaintiff nothing but a curt good riddance. She's accused of crashing and dashing.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Love your heels. Litigants have been sworn.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Sherry Moore?
Yes.
You are suing Alicia Flowers for $4,305, an estimate to repair your car that, according to you, she crashed. What happened?
That is correct. In September, I went out of town. I left my brother to house sit my home.
Is this your brother?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. I left him to house sit my home because it's not in a great neighborhood.
Okay.
While I was away, he gave me a call 2 days after I was gone. In the middle of the night, he said that he had taken the car out to go to the store without my permission because the keys weren't out anywhere. He said he took the car to run to the store and that a deer had ran out and caused him to veer and hit into a guardrail. He sent me photos. The damage was very bad.
Can I see the photos?
Yes.
Did he send you this by text?
Yes.
Do you have those texts in your phone?
No.
Okay.
I have a different phone now, unfortunately.
All right, I think we have, actually, you know what? I have a better photo up here. Just a second, sir, nobody's talking to you. I'll let you know when it's your turn. Okay, this is a picture of the damage?
Yes.
Where is the car right there, like you photographed it?
That's my uncle's. He's a mechanic.
Okay.
So it's the back of his shop.
So that's, is that who provided the estimate?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens?
So he agreed to make payments, $300 basically a month until this year when he received his taxes that he would pay off the balance.
Did he pay the $300 a month?
No. That's when he explained that what was told to me is what never happened. What actually happened is that Ms. Flowers was over that night, and she actually went through his phone while he was sleeping. They were both drinking heavily and getting high, so he says that he was exactly what happened.
No, there's no objecting.
Exactly what.
Like if it's not, you can object on a legal ground, not on a I don't like what she's saying ground.
Oh, okay.
Hold on. Hold on.
He said that they were both getting high and drunk, that he was a little hazy about exactly what happened, but he know that he was waking up in the middle of the night by Miss Flowers crying and hysterical. She had taken the car. She had first went through his phone, found out he was cheating. She taken the car, whoever he was cheating with stayed nearby. She taken the car, confronted the female. The female tried to leave her home to avoid this confrontation with Miss Flowers, who is a lunatic. So she tried to leave her own.
Don't name call her.
I'm
Go
sorry.
on.
She acts very crazy.
Okay, that you can say. Go ahead.
And the woman.
And I can't
wanted to-
object to
No,
that.
you'll have a.
Okay.
What makes you think that this is some free-for-all where everyone can just scream when they don't like? There's a process to this. She's the plaintiff. She goes first because she's the plaintiff, not because I like her. She's the plaintiff, so she has to make her case first. Then you answer that. Go ahead.
Thank you. And the woman was trying to leave her home to avoid confrontation, and Miss Flowers rammed my truck into her car multiple times.
Okay. Did you ever make contact with this person?
Yes, I
Did
made
you talk to
contact.
them?
I talked to her. She's distraught about the situation as I am.
Did she confirm your brother's new version?
Yes, she confirmed that
Do you
she
have an
never
affidavit
saw.
from her?
No. She doesn't want anything to do with the whole situation. Her vehicle was destroyed. She has no means
Do
of
you have any
transportation.
proof of what you're saying, that her vehicle was destroyed, that she filed a police report, anything to show me?
No,
that
she refused.
Not even a picture of the damage to her car.
Yeah, she refused to. She
How do
talked
I
to
know
me.
your brother's telling? If I know your brother's such a liar, how do I
Right.
know that this one's true and not the other one? Like, how do I know which one's true?
Well, I don't really.
Just a second.
You can't talk out.
Miss Flowers, before I just walked into the courtroom, this hearing about, it was still a deer, that's my first time hearing that out of Miss Flowers' mouth, because when I contacted Miss Flowers about my vehicle, she admitted to it. She said that it was her.
Do you have her on tape?
And that I should go through
Do you
my
have her on
insurance.
tape?
No.
Did she leave any messages? Did she send you any texts, any emails?
No, that whole I just
All right, let me
found
hear
out.
from you.
Mhm.
What happened?
Well, her brother's a cheater. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm sorry?
I wasn't there. I just know he's a cheater and he's a liar.
What happened with the car?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember. I just know.
Of course you remember.
Well, a deer. He said he was gonna pay. He said he was gonna pay for the damages.
How
and-
did a deer crash the car?
Oh, I don't know, but I just know that he said he was gonna pay for the damages, and
Okay.
since we not together, now I got to pay for it. But he had
Okay,
already.
no. Who was driving?
Well, I don't remember.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So when the defendant says, "I don't remember who was driving," is that like an admission?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
But she's not saying it was me. She's just saying, "I don't remember."
Yeah, why don't you remember? What were you doing? Drinking? You were out partying?
Do you believe she doesn't remember?
No, I think she remembers.
What do you say?
She very well remembers. So it's like, I'm guilty, but I'm not want to admit it.
It's kind of like pleading no contest.
Exactly.
Oh, I gotcha.
Exactly.
I gotcha. Going inside the courtroom.
How do you not remember driving and hitting a deer?
Yeah, well, it was an altercation with me and a girl, and it just went crazy. I didn't remember. I was drinking.
Did you get charged with a DUI?
No.
Did you get out of there before the police could get you?
Yep.
How do you figure you're not going to have to pay for this?
Because her brother said that he was going to pay for it. And I was with him, and it's his fault because he cheated.
So anything that you do, including ramming the person's car?
Well, I think that he should have took in consideration that he had his sister's car, and he shouldn't have.
He had his sister's car. Nobody had his sister's car.
Well, it was left.
So she has to store it because she can't trust people to not take her keys without her permission? Neither of you had a right to the sister's car.
Wow.
Oh, we're going to hear from you now, cowboy. Come on up. Yes?
How you doing, Miss Millian?
Completely. First of all, don't call me Miss Millian. It's Judge Millian.
Judge
Second
Millian,
of all,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
completely uncharmed by you. So now tell me what happened and why you would
happened?
lie to your sister the way you did.
Can I ask why she's crying?
No.
Me and
No.
these two we pretty close.
Who is?
Me, my baby sis, and the defendant.
The defendant's close to you? Mm-hmm. Did you not hear her testimony? Are you dating
testimony-
her? Are you dating her right now?
They were together last night, Judge.
They were together last night.
Yes.
Were you with him last night?
Yes, I was.
You could tell certain stuff. Like, okay, the defendant with all the extra pictures because of she didn't want to be put on blast like she was some sort of womanizer.
What on earth are you saying? I have no idea what you're saying.
She knew he had a girlfriend. She knew she was wrong.
I have no idea what you were saying.
When I was super drunk and fell asleep and she stole the keys out the drawer and went and crashed that car, all the extra evidence, she said, I don't want to be...
What's all the extra evidence mean?
When you were saying how you want the pictures of the damaged car and everything.
Female that she doesn't even want her name brought up.
She didn't want to have nothing to do with...
Your other what?
My other acquaintance.
Girlfriend?
My other
You see it? You see it?
Well, then why were you with him last night?
Acquaintance.
Why don't you respect yourself a little more and not be with him last night?
Acquaintance. It was a female acquaintance.
Okay.
And I was
do you have texts between you and her, between you and the other female acquaintance that would show that that's how it went down?
I have them. It was in a former phone, though. It was in a former phone. When you trying to be playboy, sometimes you got to throw them phones at sometimes like that.
Can I just tell you, you rub me so the wrong way. I know you think you're cute and you think you're charming, but you are the worst brother, and you're a really bad mate, and you're an idiot for spending the night with him. You may not, you know, maybe that was just so you could say it because you could hurt the other woman because you haven't hurt her enough, but she has no choice because he's her brother. But you have a choice. Jeez.
And I feel like this is a big joke, Your Honor.
It is. It's a big joke. But you know what's the biggest joke, too? The guy standing next to you. Your brother's a jerk to you. A jerk.
I'm the big
and you
brother,
bring me...
though.
Sit down. No, sit down or get out. Those are your two choices. Sit down and be quiet or get out. Now, whose idea was it to lie to her? Because everybody's sober by the time the lie happens.
It was... I just didn't want to go to jail because there was a lot of damage that's caused.
And she knew I would call the police if I knew it was her.
And why didn't the other woman tell the police it was her?
Yeah, she didn't know any information as far as who. She's never even seen this woman before.
She does now.
And he wouldn't give her any information, which is why she wouldn't provide me any help for my case today, because she got nothing, to be able to press charges.
Did you tell her name and stuff?
Yes.
Did you give her address? Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what I do to people?
I can't hear you. You want to speak up?
No.
Oh, what did she say to you?
She threatened me.
What did she say?
She said, and you know what I do to people.
Is that what you did? Did you just say that to her?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen if a hair... Get him out. I want him out. What do you think is going to happen if there's a hair on her head that is ruffled? Just a hair on her head that gets ruffled. What do you think is going to happen? You think I'm playing? I'm ruling in your favor, and the entire amount, $4,305.
You are sick. You are sick.
So the plaintiff prevails, and Ms. Flowers, you have a judgment against you now for $4,305. How about that?
Yeah, I bet her brother helped me pay for it.
What makes you think that?
Because I'm a nice person.
You know, I must tell you, in here, you look kind of idiotic.
Oh, really? Okay, let me go this way.
You can go that way.
All right. Have a nice day.
Ms. Moore?
Yes.
What a pair here.
They deserve each other.
Yeah,
They definitely
gracious.
deserve each other, and I'm just glad the judge could see right through them both.
So you think this is over? You think so the lady will take action against her?
I'm pretty sure I'll be filing harassment charges against her, and I'm hoping that the female whose car she damaged as well seeks her damages.
Yeah. But your brother's still involved with her heavily, right?
What can you do?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
By the way, Doug, when she threatened the plaintiff in court, that is a crime. It's called assault, and you can be prosecuted for that. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This is the plaintiff, Stephen Mealy. He says he rented his pool house to the defendant to live in, and the guy stiffed him on rent and other expenses when he moved out. And he's not about to let him get away with something like that. That's right, today's Judgment Day, because he's suing him for the $5,000 he's now owed. This is the defendant, Greg Levesque. He says everything between him and the plaintiff was fine in the beginning, but as time went by, the plaintiff became totally irrational. He has all his ducks in a row today for court. He'll prove he's the one who's in fact owed money today, and he can't wait to present his case to the judge. He's accused of fooling around with a landlord. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $3,000 for propane payments and unreturned security.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff rented the pool house from the defendant and got stiffed. But the defendant says the plaintiff was off his marbles and he's the one who's owed money. It's the case of This Pool Ain't Cool.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Miele, you are suing Mr. Levesque $5,000 for rent and some other expenses in association with a pool house that you had rented to him. Talk to me.
Your Honor, when this property was rented, the propane tank was filled so that it would be at capacity, and when you leave it the same way you found it.
Is that in the lease?
It's in the lease, but it's in the conversation about.
Okay, first show me where it is in the lease.
He changed part of the dynamic when he asked to take over the pool. He originally was to rent the western half of the pool house. I have 3 daughters, and they would naturally feel a little uncomfortable having to use the pool with a stranger there. So after he was in possession of the property, he decided to use the pool, and he wanted exclusive use of the pool to the extent that he was willing to pay for the servicing, which is maintenance of the pool. So that was, it's a fairly substantial sum. I mean, it's a 46,000 gallon pool, so that's fairly substantial. But there's propane, which is used to heat the pool. And
when does he tell you he's leaving, and why does he tell you he's leaving? First tell me that, then we'll argue about what he owes you. Why does he leave?
I don't know.
Okay, let me ask you.
You
stop talking. You tell me. Why is it that you ended up leaving, and when did you leave?
I ended up leaving when Mr. Milley came to me and gave me a new lease.
All right. When you decide to leave, it's because he gives you a new lease and you don't like the terms? What is the new lease?
The new lease is absolutely insanity, for one thing. And
so that's fine. So it's your prerogative. You don't want to accept the new lease. So when do you tell him I'm leaving?
About October 5th.
On October 5th, you tell him I'm leaving, and you tell him that you're leaving on what date?
I'm telling him I'm leaving in a 30-day notice. It was basically a 30-day notice that I gave him.
Well, I'll be the judge of that. You tell him October 5th that you're leaving when?
November 1st, I believe.
What day did you leave?
I left actually October 30th. It was my last day there.
Okay. So if you tell him October 5th that you're leaving October 30th, that's not 30 days. All right? Now, so you're suing for 1 month's rent. How much was the rent?
The rent was $2,500.
So you decide that you're leaving, you leave, and he did not return your security deposit, correct?
That's correct.
And how much of a security deposit do you think you paid?
I paid $2,500 for security.
Okay. You're suing for the propane because, according to you, he didn't fill it up and he received it filled up.
Right.
And your response to that is what?
The propane heats the pool house. In my lease, it says he is responsible for the heat. I didn't realize that until he sued me. I went back, checked, and I said, what am I doing here?
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That is not true. Subsequent to this thing being filled out, he then comes and says, I want to take over the pool. Okay? So he wants to do it. Great. Now, the property owner owns
it. Is it accurate that there was discussion between you guys after the lease was entered into, where you tell him, you know what, I want to be able to use the pool when I want. I don't want this problem, so I'll pay for the heat for the propane.
That was in the beginning of the lease, and that's why I'm paying an extra $300.
No.
From $2,200.
Well, then why were you paying him? You've been paying him for the propane all this time.
Yes, because the stuff, he would throw something on my back door. I took it and sent it to my secretary. I was very busy with my daughter.
You don't have
It was
eyeballs? You
stupid.
can't look at
It
it?
was a dumb thing for me to do. I didn't pay
Yeah, but you did it
anything.
for years. See, I have two different stories. And what you have going against you is that you sat around paying these propane bills for how long? How many years?
17 months.
Okay, 17 months.
Yes.
Okay.
And when I moved out, Your Honor, I have a picture of the tank that says it's 78% full.
Can I see it?
Mr. Milley has always said that they fill it up.
May I see the picture?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a picture taken.
It's a little difficult to see, but you'll see it says 77, 78%.
Yeah, well,
On the meter there.
it's not difficult to see. I just, let me hear your response to this.
I included a picture that I took the day he left.
Show me your picture. How do I know that the bill you gave me is for the pool house?
It's marked tank 1 and tank 2.
Which tank is his?
Tank 1, it says pool next to it. Subsequently,
Hold on. The last time tank 1 is filled, it is filled on June 12th, and it is filled with $349.67.
no, that's not dollars, that's gallons, I think. I don't know.
No, it's amount. The gallons was only $148.90.
Okay, well, that's right. It might only be 148 because it is
Right, so that's in June. Did he pay any of that?
none.
Okay. Did you pay the $349.67, sir?
I don't believe I did, but I've paid at least 4 times.
Okay. Is this the picture? Please look up on the screen.
Right here.
Yes, that's a picture.
Okay, how am I supposed to tell?
Right. Well,
Okay.
that is the indicator. And the most it's ever, they only filled propane in New York State to 80
Right.
80 degrees.
Right, that's everywhere.
80.
80% because it expands.
Right. So right here, every 10 of these is 100, right?
100 what?
100 gallons. So there's 150 gallons that's been used.
And how much do you get charged by the gallon? The last fee was $228.
Right. Approximately 228. Right.
That would be $342 that he owes you.
Right.
Okay, so that's done. Let's talk about
No,
the painting. Well, according to you, why does he owe you $1,700 for painting?
Because I paid for the painting of the property, and the condition in which it's in now has to be repainted.
After only what year?
Well, it doesn't. It could be after 1 hour, according to who's living there.
Did you submit to the
I
court
submitted the pictures to you. Yes, I did.
Okay.
And
What
by
is
the
that a
way,
picture of?
This is a hole
Okay.
that was made, and I made.
How was
pictures.
the hole made?
I don't know if you made it.
Do you know how that hole was made?
Yes, I put that hole in. It's about the size of a quarter.
Okay,
And I put it in to get a wire to a painting.
got it.
Here's another one with the hole here, hole here, hole here. It's all holes here.
Are
Several-
those just from hanging things up?
Yes.
And here are the other holes that, and a hat coat
Okay, why would it
rack.
cost $1,700 to paint that? According to you, you hired somebody to paint it and it was how much?
$250.
I supplied the paint. And it's $84 a gallon. I got it for 54 a gallon from,
Okay, what else do you say that he owes you for? $2,200 for repair of a broken window.
right here. If you go back one, right here. This whole entire piece has to be removed by a carpenter. And, you know, these are all custom windows. They have to be ordered. And
Okay, how did that happen?
This window, I spoke to Mr. Milley about before I moved in, number one.
And said
Number
what
two-
to him? It's shattered?
I'm sorry?
What did you say to him?
It was shattered, just the way it is. Then
You
I
mean
have.
when you moved in, it looked that way?
That's right, and he knows about it. This
Do you have
goes
any
to show
proof
you.
that you brought that to his attention before you moved in?
I brought it to his attention.
Do you have any proof that you brought it to
Yes.
his? What do you have?
Well, I have it in my phone as a video.
You submitted it? Okay, let's take a look at it and see the date stamp on it.
let's notice that this
Hold on.
refrigerator.
Here it comes, Mr. Honesty.
Stop.
You'll see it.
Stop.
hold on,
Don't talk. Whose clothes is that up there?
His daughters, because I had not moved in yet.
Does that sound right?
No. No.
Why is your daughter's clothes up there?
No. I mean, just, let's go
Is
back
that
around.
your
this.
no, let's answer my question. Whose clothes is that up there?
I think it must be his or his daughters, because not mine, not my daughters.
Who's the lady sitting next to you?
My wife.
Might you recognize your daughter's clothes? You want to come up and take a look? Let's just try to get to the bottom of this. Or you can't tell, you don't know?
No, I don't know, I'm sorry.
This is kind of a distinctive dress here, the white and black one. Did your daughter ever put her clothes in your, how old's your daughter?
My daughter is 17. And
How old's your daughter?
34.
His daughter was living there before I moved in.
Was your daughter living there before?
Months before.
Did she have the iron bars for the clothes to hang and stuff?
No.
Well, your wife just nodded yes.
I mean, my daughter
we're done.
was living in New
Just
Jersey.
stop. I want to know if I can trust the date stamp on this. That's all.
Okay.
So I'm trying to. I always try to verify through other means what I'm looking at. So, can you explain to me why you're suing for 1 month's rent? You said it's because he didn't give you notice, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
So
But he
October,
paid, just a moment.
October 25th, he
What
owed
day
to
does he pay rent?
It's supposed to be the 25th.
Of each month.
Right.
So October 25th came,
So,
and
let's
he
have
didn't
to-
pay October 25th?
No, was not paid.
Okay. When was the last time you paid rent? September 25th or October 25th?
9/25 to 10/24.
Okay.
Okay.
And then-
So
and
on
then-
10/25, you didn't pay rent. So he's saying he's keeping the $2,500 to cover 10/25 to the day you moved out, whatever it is. All right, so let's go over it. You're not entitled to an additional month's rent, but you are not entitled to your security deposit back because 30 days notice is 30 days notice. So the $2,500 will not go back to you. That's one. Two,
Could I
the
answer
propane.
that?
No. Two, the propane. On the propane issue, because I find that you folks behave like you had this side agreement on the propane, I cannot look at what you want me to look at and say, why, I've been paying all this money all this time when I wasn't supposed to, because he's supposed to pay utilities. There is an added issue here that there's an actual pool. And if you act as though there's this agreement that you're going to pay the propane separately, by paying the propane separately, your act of paying the propane separately really does look like there was this subsequent agreement where each of you gave up something. He lets you use the pool, which is kind of weird for his visitors or his daughters or whatever it is. It's, whatever. And you are going to pay the propane. And it looks like there is that agreement that he says there is because you actually pay the propane until March, then until June. Then in June you don't pay it, and then you leave it emptier than you found it. Okay. Now, I find that what you're entitled to in propane is the bill of $349.67 plus the $342 that he left it shy, for a total of $691.67. Reference the painting. Pretty much everything that I looked at is patch jobbing. And for you to suggest that he owes you $1,700, I think is an exaggeration.
I am going to
allow $500 for the filling in of all of the holes and the necessity to clean that up because there are a lot of it, which is, to me, it's always worth it because if I'm living anywhere for a year, I want to hang stuff up. But as we all know, we're supposed to leave it as we found it. And if the holes are made, then we got to do something about it. If you didn't do something about it, somebody else has to do something about it.
I agree.
Now, the broken window is a very interesting topic because according to him, he has this video of the broken window.
Was he inside the building
Well,
when he took this
he
picture?
has women's clothing up there, and there was no woman
But
living there with him.
Why didn't he come to me? What was the difference?
I don't know. I don't think he cared.
130 feet
Hold on
away.
1 second.
Why
Can you
didn't
come
he
on
come
up,
to me
wife?
and say,
Wife,
hey?
Ma'am, I'm calling you up as a witness.
So if you rent an apartment and the lease doesn't say who pays for heat, who pays, landlord or tenant?
I would say the tenant.
Why?
Well, I just think the tenant.
Why?
Well, because they're.
Pretend I'm a 6-year-old kid. Why?
Well, because the landlord should be responsible for the water and the heat.
Well, you said the tenant a minute ago.
Yes, the tenant. That's what I say.
Okay, I'm confused. What do you say?
Oh, the tenant does.
Why?
They live there. Huh? Because they live there, they're responsible.
So they got value out of it?
Yeah.
I got you. See what I mean?
Go on.
Yeah. Want to redo it? Say they got value out of it.
They got value out of it.
Going inside the courtroom.
Was a window broken?
I don't know.
Oh, but he's supposed to complain to you, and she's saying, I don't know. You don't know?
Who is, I'm sorry, who is
Was
supposed to
the window broken before he moved in? How long?
I don't know.
Did you just get married? Did you just move into that house?
No. I didn't go into the pool house.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
All right, I think there's insufficient proof on the broken window, and you're not getting $2,200 on the broken window. Now, on the counterclaim, you cannot get the security deposit returned to you because you didn't pay rent since September 25th, and according to your own testimony, you were there on October 30th. So no matter what, you'd owe that rent, okay? So here's what's going to happen. On your lawsuit against him, I am ruling for you for the propane in the amount of $691.67. An additional $500 for painting, nothing for the broken window. On your counterclaim against him, 0. That means a net judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,191.67. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I mean, the simple thing to do, you got to nail down utilities in the lease. That'll do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, J. Leslie Sosa Basualdo. She says she loaned her friend, the defendant, money so he could have a surgery to lose weight. And now more than a year has passed and she hasn't been paid back. If she'd just paid her back like $10 a month, she would have been happy. But he copped a nasty attitude with her. She's done playing nice and is suing him here and now for the $1,200 she's owed. This is the defendant, David. He says he worked for the plaintiff and the lines got blurred when she gave him money. He continued to work for her and feels he worked off all of the $1,200 she gave him, and then some, and owes this ungrateful woman nothing. He's accused of failing a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff loaned a friend money so he could have surgery and lose weight, and he stiffed her. But the defendant says he worked for her and worked off the entire $1,200 loan. It's the case of you lost weight and I lost money.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Hi. So, Ms. Basualdo, you are suing David. You've asked us not to mention your last name for $1,200 in a loan that you made to him that he refuses to repay you, correct?
That is correct.
What happened here?
I hired him off Craigslist as an IT guy back in 17, and he did very good work. And at one point, he told me he was going to go have an operation. And I said, okay, and he'd be gone for a while, so he went and had his operation. Then he came back and he was sweating. He wouldn't show up for work. So I said to him, David, what's wrong? Because by then he was a friend of mine. He said, well, I have problems. I'm not feeling good. I don't know if the operation went well. I said, do you need money? And he said, maybe. So he said, let me go home and think about it. Okay? So that night he sent me an email, which I have right here.
And in the email he says, you know I have no privacy at night. I think too because maybe I'm just so embarrassed, but I think I will have to take you up on your generous offer to help me out financially. It's very embarrassing. I'm angry at myself. $1,200 would help me out tremendously to take the stress and anxiety out of my life for the time being. So what ends up happening?
So I wrote him a check.
All right, so then hand me a copy of the check. And then has he paid you anything on this?
Absolutely nothing.
Has he when did you loan him that money?
October.
2017, October. Did you ever say to him, you have X amount of time? Like, what was the plan?
Well, then the next thing we did, Jan, he wrote to me, Jan, while I'm beginning to pay you off, I think it's a good time for us to sever our relationship. That I don't want to work for you anymore. Here's the next exhibit.
Okay, and that happens when, in January?
That happened in June 18th or 15th.
Okay, and why did he want to sever your relationship?
I think it doesn't say.
Well, you know why. Why do you think he was telling you that?
Because he was upset that I asked for the money back, I think.
So when you asked him for the money back, what did he say to you?
Then he starts telling me that I should sign up for a Zella account at Chase Bank.
Okay.
Which I did. And here's the information.
So that he could pay you through Zelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's this.
And then did he pay you anything? No. Okay, let me hear your side. What's going on here?
Sure. I don't know if I gave off some clues, if I said something in passing, but several times Jan did ask me if everything was okay, is everything okay financially, which I was a little surprised how she would know that. She told me on several occasions I can come to her if I need help. So I've never borrowed money from a client. Lines were
that was probably a good plan to keep.
It's a really good plan. You know, we became friendly, and so the lines were a little blurry, and I had
then you didn't borrow money from a client. You borrowed money from a client who's become a friend, and you borrowed from it. Borrowed it from her as a friend.
We were
and
friendly.
then kept her as a client. And
well, she continued to hire me. I went well beyond IT support. I mean, originally I was hired to give her computer lessons, which is a large part of what I do. I teach. And that turned into lots of different things: tech support, troubleshooting, help with special software, smart home things, audio visual, a lot of stuff.
Okay, I'm sorry, but you blended the lines between friend and client. I'm not. When you say that stuff, is that stuff you got paid for?
Absolutely.
Okay, so did you borrow $1,200 from your client?
Yes, I understood it as a loan.
Okay, so why don't you have to pay it back?
So I provided considerably more than 20 hours of free services to her, sometimes not by choice, sometimes being told, oh, this is going to be your gift to me today. Any phone calls at any time, any text messages, remote access into her computer upon her request, things that clients typically ask me to keep a timesheet for and ultimately settle up with.
So why didn't you just keep a timesheet and settle up with?
Yeah, that's a really good question.
Because then it just looks like you're just, you borrowed money from the lady and you're just a heel and you don't want to pay it back.
Sorry.
Because you borrowed money personally, and then you're telling me, well, I worked really hard for her company, so I shouldn't have to pay it. That doesn't make any sense.
I don't think I'm being very clear.
Okay.
I would like to add one other thing, that immediately upon this loan, I suggested two things. I suggested that we do it in trade. I work for you so much, it'll be 2 months, it'll be done. I was pretty much scolded. I don't remember waiting or anything. One day I was I was scolded about how, no, it's from my personal account and this is business and you can't. My second suggestion was, okay, then I will have to pay it off over time. I mean, obviously I borrowed the money for a reason. Nope, I don't payments. I don't want payments. I want it all at once.
I'm sorry, have you paid a penny?
No.
Okay,
No.
so this whole time thing kind of sounds like a lame excuse if you haven't paid a single penny.
Well, the nature of the relationship changed, and Jan became, I don't know how to describe the behavior, not really aggressive, but just much more confrontational with me. I would be blamed for things that I hadn't been there in 3 weeks, and I would be blamed for all this, and I'm throwing it all out the window, and if you don't take care of it, that's it, we're done. It became very abusive. Some disparaging remarks were made.
What's your defense to paying off the loan for the money you borrowed?
So if he did extra work, can he say, okay, we're even Steven now in the loan?
No, not unless they agreed on the front end.
They did not agree on the front end. What do you say?
No, they should have written out a contract.
Okay, does he get his money? Does he get to write off the loan?
No, no way.
No way.
Okay.
No
Money
way.
for money.
Huh?
Money for money.
Money for money. Oh, I like that. Going inside the courtroom.
What is your defense to paying? You're like any other guy here who owes $1,200. What's your special defense that means you don't have to pay the $1,200 you borrowed from her? Because we know you borrowed it. We know you cashed a check. You even tell her to open up a Zelle account, and then you don't pay anything on it. So what is your defense to why you don't have to pay back $1,200?
Primarily because I provided her considerably more than $1,200 worth of services.
But see,
for
you
nothing.
don't get to pick how you pay back. You see, your option, if in fact there are hours that you were working, is to say, listen, I get paid for this, so here's your bill, your monthly bill. Every time you submit a bill, you submit for the hours. She has no problem paying you for what you've worked. She's never not paid you for what you've worked. So how can it possibly be your defense to paying back a personal loan to say, I've just done way more than what I've billed for? No, just bill the company for the work you did.
I should have had that conversation, but it really wasn't the case of, a lot of times I did some work, and again, like I said, it wasn't my choice not to get paid, so I really wasn't paid.
What do you mean by that? I have no idea what you just said.
So for instance, I would do several hours worth of work and be told, That's going to be your Christmas present to me, these hours.
Then say no and submit a bill.
Yeah, you know, when you have a long-term client.
Well, then that's a choice. You see,
you're right.
If you make the choice that that work was going to be free, then don't come to me and say that work counts towards a personal loan, even though I did it for a. No, it's not how it works. Verdict for the plaintiff: $1,200.
So the plaintiff prevails. She gets a $1,200 judgment. David, I think you learned a lesson in business control. If you step over here, please.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Sometimes things are fair, sometimes things are legal.
Okay, very good. From now on, they'll be legal. Right?
But yeah, I learned
Although
a
I
lot.
doubt you'll be working for her anymore. Right?
Probably not, but I've learned a lot about moving forward. And,
Okay, well, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You must sign a few documents on your way out of the courtroom. I have the instinct that this was kind of a tough decision for you to file a lawsuit against him, was it?
Yes, but it was just for my own self-respect. It has to do with gratitude, which is the shortest-lived emotion. I tried to help him, and he turned nasty on me. This was not about the $1,200.
Yeah, I gather that. Well, congratulations. You feel better now? Vindicated?
My soul feels vindicated.
See, there you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, very
Thank
much.
you.
Good for you. She feels good, Harvey. What do you think?
Okay, I mean, we see this a lot where somebody owes somebody money and then they say, okay, well, I did this and that for the other person, and therefore that's got value to it, and therefore the loan should be canceled. The loan is not canceled, and even if you did do something where you should get money, those are two separate things. You owe money for the loan.